All right, GM guys, how are we doing? Are we hungry? All right, you'll be fine, don't worry. So, we're here again, and this time around, we'll be talking about how Sui Blockchain can improve access to financial services in Nigeria and Africa. How Sui Blockchain can improve access to financial services in Nigeria and Africa. And this same topic will be the, should I say, governing topic for the Ideathon, because the solutions that will be created will be on how you can help to improve the financial services in Nigeria. You know, in the past days, we had some crazy issues. I don't know, GT Bank, Zenith Bank. You guys can relate to what I'm talking about. And this story I told them in UNN that was trending on X of the guy, you know, quickly before we start, who went to, in Lagos, you know, he had an interview or something. He was wearing his suit, and then he transferred to the bus driver, and the bus driver did not receive his alert, and he told him to hang by the door. When the money enters, then he can sit. And this man was wearing his suit. And you know, Lagos is a crazy place. I don't like Lagos like that. I don't know, they're too rough and all that. So he hung by the door, and when he was almost at the venue or the location where he was going, the downfall driver was like, "Oga, I don't see the money, or you feel enter, sit down." You know, and that was how he entered and sat in the car. So I don't know, I feel like we actually have so much that we can do to help our financial services in Nigeria, particularly leveraging on speed, because one of the things we struggle with is very slow, speedy transactions in our centralized systems. So number one question I'll be asking is, what role does DeFi, or decentralized financial solutions, on the Sui blockchain play in expanding access to credit, loans, and other financial services in African markets? Mr. Mbede, please.
Okay, first of all, we need to know what a DeFi is. Do you understand? Now, while we spoke, I talked about centralized finance, the kind that First Bank, Guaranteed Trust Bank, UBA offers you. Do you understand? What is DeFi? DeFi is the decentralized finance, the kind of financial services or solutions that is existing on a blockchain. So when you hear DeFi, it's more like the Web3 version of your normal banking system. That's what DeFi is for blockchain. So what is the role of DeFi in helping financial access to credit, loan, facilities in Africa or in Nigeria? From the top of my head, one of it can be peer-to-peer lending and borrowing. Do you understand? That is a financial service that DeFi can offer us in this part of the world. Because of we are Nigerians, every one of us we are Nigerians, one of us, or maybe all of us, must have come across organizational loopholes. Loopholes like, before you can get to a microfinance bank, apply for a loan, and they give you the loan, there are a lot of procedures they take you to pass through. Do you understand? And secondly, there are banks actually say that loans are not available to the common man, like me and you. In this, they need you to have a certain kind of credit score for you to qualify for a certain amount for them to give you a loan. Are we together? Am I correct? There are banks that do not give you money just because you don't have money. So for you to access more money in the financial services system, you need more money. So it means it's only conditioned to a certain level of people in the society, right? In DeFi, it eliminates that. For example, there is a protocol on Sui. It's called Scallop, SCALLOP, Scallop. We also have Navi protocol. You must have heard about it. Both are lending and borrowing platforms. Do you understand? How do they work? For example, Navi protocol, you want to get something. Say you want to buy a car, right? Navi protocol gives you access to that marketplace. However, they collect a digital asset from you. So for example, you give them an NFT, a digital asset, they keep it for you, they keep it as collateral, then they give you access to the marketplace to do whatever you want to do. That's what Navi protocol does. Scallop, at the other hand, they make you, like, no matter what it is that you have, somebody may want to borrow on the ecosystem, right? So you can actually lend money to me on Scallop, and when I pay back, you get interest because you lent to me. And in all of this, an intermediary have been eliminated. You know, in our normal traditional system, there are always intermediaries. And so bank charges, VAT, all of those charges, cost increases with the number of middlemen you have to meet before services are offered to you, right? On DeFi, all of these intermediaries have been removed. So you do not need to actually spend much just because you want to access loan. Do you understand? So on Sui have solutions by which we can take advantage of. We don't need to be in the top class of the society to benefit from credit, loan, and other facilities, that financial solutions that are available to human beings, right? Thank you very much.
All right, I think you actually answered a lot. I wanted to give it to Mr. Breakfast to add up based off he's in the financial system, but remember that we have to take questions from the audience. So let me quickly go so that we can take questions, from the audience. Does Sui Blockchain have unique features for enhancing financial inclusion in Africa? What are those unique features? Mr. Breakfast, please, you're in the financial sector. What unique features do you think Sui has, that can help the system in Africa?
Yeah, so, Sui has unique features that can actually enhance financial inclusion. One thing I've discovered after being in the banking sector I'm still in the banking sector, so I'll call it in quote the Web 2 banking sector. So the Nigerian kind of bank, I understand, so Nigerian kind of banking sector. And one thing I've discovered about our processes, there's something we call identity verification. You understand? Identity verification. So when you come into, like for instance, now if you come to my office and you want to access any facility from me, first thing I do is I profile you. That's what we call the 7 C's of credit. So when you talk about the 7 C's of credit, we have the character, we have the capacity, we have capital. These are procedures before I can attend to you, before I can give you any facility. You understand? So I look at you. In fact, there's a way you're going to look. If you come to my office, for instance, on a very good day, let me give you this example. On a very good day, a man came to my office, and his slippers was, I don't know what happened to his slippers, but I just profiled him. I said, this guy must be a broke guy. You understand? I don't know if he's broke or not. You understand? But I just profiled, I look how he's dressing. In Africa, yeah, there's this saying that say, dress the way you will be addressed. You understand? So some people that doesn't have money, if you're in Abuja very well, you end up knowing people that there's something called the fake life. Many of us in Abuja will live the fake life. You understand? So you see somebody driving a GLK, staying in not even a one bedroom, a self-contained or a one room sharing toilet. You understand? But in that is compound, you see a GLK. Why? You won't blame them. Because when you get to some certain offices in Abuja, you discover that they profile you by the car you drive and the way you dress. So once you come into the office, we'll look down and see the car. Okay, he's driving a Benz, that's good. We can start talking. You understand? So that is what is affecting the banking sectors. So basically, when you come to my office, the guy came to my office, I look at his shoes, and he was like, I said, this guy cannot access money from us. So I've killed his credit score before even verifying his details. You understand? So that is an issue that the Web3, the emergence of Sui has come to eliminate. When you have the ZK logins, do you know what the ZK login is? It's just using you have your normal email address and what have you. You can just integrate it into what? Using it to open an account, open your account with the Sui ecosystem, and you are there. When you want to open an account, like there's something that happened in the banking sector, we call the account opening form. You understand? It's like 4 pages. 4 pages. We'll ask you for your passport, the passport of your mother, the passport of your father. We'll ask you to fill your next of kin. You understand? Your NIN, your BVN, your this, your that. So before you open an account with us, we almost got in. In fact, it's even funny. Sometimes we follow you to your house to go and verify your address. Do you know that? We do that a lot in the banking sector. We follow it to your bank. We want to verify your address. You see a banker, you are going to your house. You don't even know that we are at your back. We are just monitoring you. So we'll verify your address. Okay, this is where he's staying. You understand? So those things, the Web2 system is it's slowing down the process. So what happened? The emergence of Web3, the Sui ecosystem, has eliminated that. So everybody can come in. So with just your phone, with an access to internet, with your mobile phone, you can get access to financial services. You can open your profile in the Sui ecosystem and do your transaction. Easy peasy. I hope you understand what I'm trying to say. So it eliminates those rudiments process we have in the Web 2.
Okay, thank you so much. Mr. Anayo, I think you should add, especially the financial inclusion part.
Yeah, my own take is I want to come in the financial inclusion part, right? In Nigeria or in Africa as a whole, right? There are many people that are excluded financially, right? It might be due to maybe poor internet access, a dearth of knowledge of how to access financial services, or some people just don't have the stringent documents or the things that are required to access the financial services in Nigeria. So I want us to see, when we talk about SUI and the solutions it can provide so that the financially excluded can be included, right? Let us not look at it in the abstract form. Let us look at how it can benefit even the people who do not have, at least, like they have basically zero knowledge on financial services. So I've been privileged to do business, and yes, we can talk about how SUI is the fastest, right? 297,000 transactions per second. You can speak all the, let me just use this word, jargons, right? You can tell them how it is this, how it is that, how it is this, how it is that. But for the ordinary person, the market woman, the trader on the street, he doesn't care about that. All he cares about is how to just be able to do the transaction seamlessly, and whatever you are saying, whatever unique feature that you are saying, that is left to you. So the one I want to pick is that the immutability factor of SUI, right? What I mean by immutability is that the SUI network, when a transaction is recorded there, it cannot be erased, right? So what that does is to build what? Transparency. And whenever a blockchain or a financial service can be able to build what? Transparency, what it does is that it builds trust, right? You get people to trust you, and it is when people trust you that they can begin to part away with their hard-earned money and put it in your services, right? So the immutability factor of SUI, where it has built that transparency, where it has built that trust, it can make more of these people that are afraid of the banks we have of today, let me not call banks, but we know the banks that we use today. Some people are afraid of putting their money there because they feel like, oh, maybe one day it can fold or something. But when they know that these transactions are secure, they will know that wherever they need their money, they can be able to access it. Then the second unique factor I want to talk about is that there's a proverb that says that a good name, right, is better than what? Riches, right? So a good name is better than what? Riches, yeah, that's it. So what I want to say is that SUI had something going for it, and what does it have? It has a clean slate. It has a clean slate. Now, when you talk about other blockchains, there are some baggages that come with it. Those in Solana know what people say about Solana. Those in other blockchains know what people say in blockchain. But SUI has the unique ability to build its own narrative, right? Which, when you talk to people, you can now come from a place of a clean slate. Imagine trying to convince a market person or even a dev or somebody that has a knowledge about Solana. He will immediately begin to tell you about the problems that are associated with Solana. But in SUI does not have a built narrative. There's nothing that people can say, oh, this is what SUI is known about. No bad stain on his name. So I believe that when you can easily convince people and make them become more included in the financial services in Nigeria? Thank you.
All right, thank you so much for that. Adding up to that, how can Sui Blockchain help address the challenges of unbanked groups in Nigeria and Africa?
Okay, quickly, we need to identify the challenges. What do you mean to be unbanked? It means you do not at least have access to any financial services, right? Whether in Web 2 or Web 3, whatever it is, you do not at least have access to any financial services. What are financial services? Credit loans, savings, deposit, currency exchange. All these things you do with a normal banking system, a traditional banking system, is what we call financial services. So there are people that are unbanked or underbanked. So they don't have at least access to any of these facilities because they are illiterate, they are either illiterate or they are elderly or they are staying in places where, like he said, they have no internet access. Do you understand? So how do we use Sui? How can Sui come into play? You know, recently, the CTO of Sui, Mr. Adeni Abiodun, he announced a partnership between Sui Network, Sui Blockchain, and Cheap Wireless Africa. This now, for people who stay in rural areas, you do not need to enter transportation for 1 hour looking for the next bank to deposit your money, right? You only need a mobile phone to carry out an internet, not a transaction, a cryptocurrency, or whatever transaction you want to do without an internet access, like wireless access, right? The only thing you need now is a mobile phone. By it, when that partnership has been announced for all of us to onboard or use or test, we can carry out transactions at whatever level without internet connection. That's one. Secondly, we need to address the issue of illiteracy. There are people, old men, old women, market women, that do not have any of these, even as much as OPay or Money Point is. They do not even at least have any of these, right? So they actually, have you met people that don't have bank account? Right? You have met people that don't have bank account. Those are the people we call unbanked. They don't have access to any financial services. So we have ways by which we can take the solutions to them. First of all, if you are illiterate about whatever it is that goes on in Web3, this is where all of us come in. We just take the solutions to you. There are ways by which you can now save your money. You don't need data, in case data is the problem. You only need a phone. You can create an account offline, right? You save your money. You don't need to finish businesses or whatever it is that you sell by night. That time the traditional banking system is not even open anymore. Let's say you want to send somebody to the bank to go and deposit money you have made during the day, right? Those things are a lot of hassle. There are a lot of challenges, right? It puts you at risk of theft. Do you understand? People can rob you because they know that you have cash, right? And meanwhile, the challenges by which you could take that cash and convert it to a secure storage system must not be long enough. Now, on Sui, with Cheap Wireless Africa, we can now do transactions that are off the internet, that are offline, and nobody will need to be carrying cash around and stand risk of what it is that the society can do to them just because they are holding money in their hand. So these are the ways I think we can address these challenges.
Talking about illiteracy, an illiterate is somebody that cannot read or write. So there's something that I saw someone do, and I've been thinking about it on the Sui network. So there is this group of Hausa people in the northern part of Nigeria. They decided to start translating everything on the Sui network in Hausa. So now, okay, I was just wondering, I thought it's going to be a good way. Does that mean that maybe, the Igbo people too, trying to do that, translate some of these things, explain it in Igbo and Yoruba and all of those things, is it even going to be sustainable? Because an illiterate cannot read or write, so that means there are even people that cannot even read or write the Hausa.
Okay, let me add. I have a personal bias to this. Do you understand? We have traditional banking systems who try to pass or do adverts or do marketing or promotional services or send advert, whatever it is, by writing on languages, right? What is the common language spoken in Benin City? I assume Benin, right? Like, for example, First Bank want to do an advert. They are writing, come and bank with us in Benin. I have a certain kind of bias to it, because my opinion is that if you can read Benin language or Yoruba language or Igbo language, when you see it, it means you are a literate person, right? Most people who speak their traditional languages cannot write it. Do you understand? Which is why, for example, the Arabic language is not just taught to you by how to speak it, it is taught to you on how to even write it. So I have a bias, because when First Bank and all of your traditional banking system come and tell us that we should bank with them and they're writing it in my language, if I can read it in my language, it means I went to school, I can read. We are talking about the illiterate people, people who can only speak the language, they cannot write it, they cannot even read it when they see it, right? So I think we need to go beyond that. We need to come as a community on Sui, find a way by which we would bring enlightenment, awareness campaigns like we are doing right now. We need to bring solution. There's a lending and borrowing protocol on Sui. I said it before. It is Navi. It is Scallop. I do not have enough money. Meanwhile, I need to set up this business, and I have some few NFTs that may not sell now, right? I take it to Navi. They collect the NFT. They collect the digital asset. They give me the money I want to start up this business, and I start it up. When I have the profit, I pay back. The same thing happens with Scallop. Just that this time, an individual can lend money to you, and he will still get profit when you pay back. So that's how I feel that we can address this illiteracy stuff.
Yeah, let me chip into what he says. Like he was mentioning Scallop. I know many of you are just hearing about Scallop, right? You don't know it before. So one of the reasons why we are here is to ensure that we bring this to your awareness, that this can happen on the ecosystem, right? This can happen on the ecosystem. So you have to think within yourself, what can you do in your community? What are those things you can, because basically for Scallop right now, it's for, it can be tailored to those people in their community, maybe the whites, or maybe in the US or in the UK, giving their own policies and what have you. We as Nigerians must think of what we can come up with, which solutions we can come up with the ecosystem to bridge this financial illiteracy and to create more of what financial inclusiveness among our community. So this is just to trigger some things in you guys. So when you guys are doing your ideathon sessions and what have you, there are solutions you can come up with that can bridge this gap. Thank you.
Yeah, so like don't be ashamed to build solutions that are very local, addressing your community. It doesn't have to be foreign. In fact, why I don't know, we go for hackathons and it's only one team that I've seen, Sui Ichiba. I don't know if Ichiba what tribe it is, but like you can bring up a solution in your own tribal, form. We don't have to be foreign. We're just using a platform that will address our own local solutions. I don't know if you get my point. So we have to take questions at this point. We have to take questions at this point so that we can wrap up and have our ideathon session and other things. Okay, 1, 2. Wow. How about they write them down or something? I don't know, because these questions need to be addressed and we're allowed to. Yes, write them down, right? Because we have activities to do. So writing them down works. All right. Okay, let's attend to the first 2. Then the rest, please write it down. Ushers, please, an usher, please help me take the questions. They should write it down, please. Then we'll take these 2. I think I had accepted 2. Yeah.
All right. The question I was looking forward to ask was that, how can Sui predictable and low-cost transaction fee help to reduce the cost of transactions in Nigeria? Because last semester, while we were talking about information technology and design, we talked about how the transaction phase of the current institutions in our country, how some of them sometimes they're implemented without the consent of the user. Like let's say you are sitting at home and receive a text message telling you that you have been debited for payment, maybe a service that was rendered to you by the bank. So I have to ask, how can Sui help this issue in Nigeria?
Okay, it's actually an issue from educational sector to government, inland revenue services, revenue generation services, and all of that. So how can Sui help with this? Sui already has a possibility that gas fees, as far as we are concerned, is very low. Why? Because we eliminated everything that makes middlemen want to charge you, right? So once middlemen are eliminated in anything, whether revenue generation or school fees payment or the traditional banking system, sending me a text message that so amount have been removed from my account for card maintenance, right? Those things, I just stay and I am being debited. Meanwhile, this is because somebody in the system need to be paid. So they need to take that money off you to make sure that they pay up that person. When all of this is taken away, for example, in educational sector, there are things that have you seen a breakdown of your school fees? There are things you really have not used since you entered this school.
Yeah.
Meanwhile, it is there. All of this, we just need to pay for what we are coming to get. If it is lecture, tuition fee, laboratory, let us pay it. What is VAT, miscellaneous, sport that they don't even do, games that they don't do, laboratory that I still need to pay the person. Why? Because there are a lot of middlemen in the stuff. So once we take away a lot of intermediaries, we are settling issues of gas fees or transaction fees. We are taking it to the barest minimum. Do you understand? So these things are there because there are people in the systems who need to be paid. And they need to take it from me and you to pay them. On Sui, we can eliminate all of those. I don't know if I answered your question.
Yeah, I understand. Though I have a follow-up question. So now, taking the hypothesis that Sui is now implemented on a national scale to solve these problems, and I ask, so since the gas fee is not predictable and it has been reduced, the money saved by these low gas fees, and I ask, is there any way that you think I'm used to maybe benefit the lives of the users of the blockchain?
Of course, this is why there's actually still something called gas fee. Do you understand?
Yeah.
If not, it should have been no gas fee at all. Do you understand? It is because the one that is taken off you, no matter how minimal it is, has things you need to solve. Meanwhile, it should not be to the level where me and you are being ripped off.
Yeah.
I hope you get me.
Yeah.
So there are things we can use that to solve as per revenue generation, for example, for the government. You know, all the area boys or talks need to take their cut before it gets to the government.
Yeah.
When we take off all of this, even the one that we are taking as per the lowest transaction fee possible, it can solve things in our system.
Yes, I understand. Thank you.
Thank you. So you spoke about ZK login as a way to onboard new users on the Sui ecosystem. So I have some concerns about the security of ZK login. So can you shed more light on that, please?
Okay. Why the ZK logins was introduced basically is just to integrate between the Web 2 to the Web 3. So we understand that many of us are conversant with our emails, our Gmails, and what have you. Now, there's something I always used to say, that no matter how a system is being protected, you are the first person to protect yourself. You understand? So no matter how much we have fortified the system to improve the security on the ecosystem, you yourself there are some certain informations you must keep. There's some certain informations you must not share. There's certain information that must be only you, only eyes. That's like only your eyes can see those informations. So for instance now, for the ZK logins, it integrates you having a Gmail, an email address and what have you. You can use that to create your account, open your account on the ecosystem. Let me give it to Mr. Ambede to add more light to that.
So let me add, your concern may be because it has a Web 2 feature, which is identification. Meanwhile, that is the reason for Sui. It just want to give you an identification management, and that is all. Because we do not need to be opening different kind of wallets just because one has been compromised or the passphrase have been revealed. Do you understand? It just gives you an identity, and that's the only feature it integrates. It integrates from Web 2. Do you understand? So it is still decentralized. Your information is not with somebody else. It just uses that email as an identity to you. Do you understand? It does not use any other thing. There are apps that ask you for connection or permission to use your Gmail, photos, contact, and all of that. That's not the aim. The aim is to give you identity. Do you understand? So that you cannot compromise that in the way that a wallet containing passphrase can be compromised. If I connect to a phishing link, I need to create a new one. If somebody knows my passphrase, I need to create a new one. Why? Because it is known, right? My identity is maintained just because it is my login, my ZK login. It uses my email as an identity. Have I answered the question?
So if that Gmail is compromised, you mean your account is compromised?
Which is why I said it does not request permission to anything. It just gives identity. You can disconnect from it. Do you understand? The compromising of, in fact, when it is compromised, it have saved you already because it is not like attached. It just gives you identity. Who has this wallet? odeungbase@gmail.com. That's all. You don't need to save passphrase. It can be lost. If I did not write it somewhere, I've forgotten it, right? That's all. It's not if the email or the Gmail is compromised, then it means your wallet needs to be, or you need to open another email address. No. Do you understand? Those are the functions of ZK logins. It gives you identity, not that it incorporates everything in Web 2 or your mail services. They don't actually need it. They just need it for identity. It bridges Web 2 and Web 3. That's all.
Okay, thank you.
All right, thank you. We have to go. But before we leave, I just wanted to add that the ZK login also has some form of cryptography. You know, zero knowledge proof. It has some form of cryptography that also helps it to be secured in itself. So that's the kind of security it has. It has, yeah, cryptography. Thank you, guys.